There's a formula that has tracked Bitcoin's price for 15 years. Through every crash, every bubble, every bear market, nothing has broken it. A physicist discovered it, and when someone asked him how confident he was that it continues, he said 90%. And that number is either the most credible long-term case Bitcoin has ever had, or it's about to join a long list of models that looked perfect until they didn't. I'm David. I spent years the world's largest Bitcoin security company, and now I help professionals and retirees build serious wealth strategies with Bitcoin. Most price models for Bitcoin have broken. Not underperformed, broken. Stock to Flow predicted the current halving cycle would average around $500,000. Bitcoin's nowhere near that. The 4-year cycle promised a massive rally in 2025. It didn't come. So at this point, a Bitcoin price formula has roughly the track record of a weather app in London. So when someone tells you they have a formula for Bitcoin's price, you'd be right to be skeptical. Giovanni Santostasi is a physicist, someone trained to find the laws that govern how natural systems grow. He's been studying Bitcoin's price mathematically for years, and the 90% he put on it is attached to something specific. His confidence that Bitcoin reaches roughly $1 million within about 8 years, and around 10 million within 20. But notice what he's not saying. The formula's fit to 15 years of historical data is even tighter than 90%, closer to 95. The 90% is something different. That's his forward confidence that the same pattern holds going forward. A salesman says, this is definitely happening. But a physicist says 90% chance and tells you exactly what would prove him wrong. The question is, what's actually behind that number? And to answer that, you have to understand what type of formula it is. It's called a power law. And what that means is not what most people expect. Here's where most people switch off. And I want to tell you why that's a mistake before we go one step further. Because buried inside this formula is one number that answers a question every serious investor should be asking. Is Bitcoin growing like something that survives or like something that's about to collapse? The formula is this: price equals a constant multiplied by the number of days Bitcoin has existed raised to the power of 5.8. Feeling like a genius yet? Just wait for it. That last part, 5.8, is called the exponent, the engine of the formula. It controls how steeply the price compounds relative to time. Take any number and raise it to the power of 2, then 3, then 4. And each time you increase the exponent, the curve gets steeper. The exponent is the dial that controls how explosive the growth is. In exponential growth, the dial keeps turning. The exponent itself grows with time, which is exactly where the word exponential comes from. Viruses, bubbles, hype cycles, things that accelerate until they run out of room to grow any further and collapse. Exponential growth always hits a wall, not because something goes wrong, but because the math guarantees it. A power law doesn't work that way because the exponent is fixed. The growth rate actually slows down over time. Early in Bitcoin's life, the price doubled in months. Then it took a year, then several. Each doubling stretched out longer than the last. And right now that translates to an annualized growth rate of around 37%. And the model tells you that number will keep declining as Bitcoin matures. That's not a flaw, that's the signature of something that survives. If you want to protect and grow your wealth with Bitcoin, but you feel overwhelmed by the whole process, I've made a beautiful guide called the Bitcoin Wealth Roadmap. It has the exact 6 steps to take, how to keep your Bitcoin safe, and the mistakes to avoid. It's completely free and you can get your copy at mybitcoin.academy/roadmap. Links in the description. Now back to the formula because that still leaves the deepest question unanswered. Why would Bitcoin's price follow a mathematical law from physics at all? Most price models were built the same way. Someone found a pattern in historical data, drew a line through it, and called it a law, with no mechanism behind it. No reason it should hold beyond the data it was fitted to. So when market conditions shifted, the line broke. The question for this formula is whether there's an actual reason it exists, or whether it's just another glorified curve fit. The answer comes down to what Bitcoin actually is. Is it a company? A commodity? A speculation? None of those. It's a network, and networks in nature don't grow like companies, they grow like cities. How long does the average company on the S&P 500 last? Less than 20 years. They rise, they peak, and fade. Cities are different. Rome has survived wars, plagues, and financial collapses for thousands of years, and last time I checked, it's still growing. The difference isn't luck. A company has a CEO, a headquarters, a single point of failure. A city has none of that. Millions of people independently choose to participate, and the more economic activity flows through it, the more valuable it becomes. When scientists measure how cities grow, they find the same mathematical pattern every time: a power law. Bitcoin is structured the same way. No CEO, no headquarters, no off switch. And its value doesn't scale simply with the number of people who join. It scales with the total economic weight they bring. One institution moving $1 billion into the network contributes more than 100 small individual buyers. What matters is the aggregate capital and activity flowing through the system. As that grows, the network becomes more valuable, and the power law captures exactly that relationship. This is why the power law isn't just another curve fit. It's the expected mathematical behavior of this type of system, and is what gives a physicist the standing to say 90% at all. He's also told you exactly what would prove him wrong, and for 15 years, nothing has. The formula doesn't tell you to buy Bitcoin. What it gives you is a reason to ask yourself whether you thought seriously enough about where this asset is going. The free Bitcoin wealth roadmap is in the description if you want to go further. And if the formula is right about where Bitcoin is going, there's one number that changes everything about how you think about owning it. I explain it in this video right here.